Hi, I'm Christine Cushing, and welcome to another helping of my favorite foods. What happens when you combine the king of herbs, fresh basil leaves, a pungent kick of fresh garlic, pinch of salt, add umami-packed Parmigiano, and a handful of nuts, and blend it all together in some creamy goodness? People lose it. Are you ready to make a classic pesto from Genoa? Let's go. Well, could have a few twists, just a few. Basil reigns supreme in the city of Genoa, in Italian Genova. So it's a bit confusing, Genoa in English. Look at this basil. I mean, how gorgeous is it? You want to have these beautiful tender leaves, and I love doing a plant because that way I know it's super fresh. Basil is very, I don't know, like you look at it the wrong way and you could wilt it. So it's really nice to get a plant like this. If not, make sure it's super fresh. Now, it's always fascinating to delve into the roots of the location of a recipe. And the city of Genoa is a port city, and imagine hustle bustle, lots of trading, lots of coming and going. And case in point, that's where Christopher Columbus was born. So hello, he did a lot of coming and going from there. But the people of Genoa love pesto. I remember the first time I went there, just visiting those little shops, looked like little jewelry shops of every pasta you could possibly imagine. And of course, pesto as far as the eye can see. And I mean, it's so phenomenal. So there's such a culture of it there. And it's really about making it fresh and eating it right in that moment. Now, okay, in modern day life, other parts of the world, maybe we're not going to do that, but you want to adhere to as much of those principles as possible to get the best pesto that you can when you're not in Genoa. Okay, I said it was going to be classical, but I'm taking another detour. Instead of the pine nuts, another peanut, pistachio. The pistachio is really fantastic. It gives it a brightness in that green, so it really augments the green color, and it has a similar creaminess to the pine nut. For me, the pine nuts, I'm having a challenge finding good pine nuts. So if you find good pine nuts, please go ahead, but try it with pistachio. It's really, really phenomenal. And you get that extra oomph of green color. What's not to love? Don't tell anyone from Genoa. They're gonna slap me. Ah, basilico. Now I'm trimming the leaves here and just making sure that I use only the leaves without the stems. This is a really beautiful basil plant. I like to give it a wash very delicately, and then I spin it dry. I don't want any water to water down my pesto, right? You can also lay it out to dry on a towel like I'm doing here. I can smell the basil from here. Oh my God. Do you say basil or basil? I always say basil. And in fact, it comes from the Greek, which means king, Vasilias. Basil is named after royalty. That's why I call it the king of herbs. What's unique about this basil is that it's very delicate. It's not peppery. It doesn't have the cinnamon notes, no lemon, no marjoram. It doesn't have that intensity. It's much more of a delicate flavor, and that really brings all of the other flavors together. So you don't want anything overpowering this beautiful, delicate basilico genovese. As with any simple recipe, the quality of ingredients paramount. So I'm starting with a nice piece of Parmigiano Reggiano that I'm grating myself. You can also use pecorino, that is in the original recipe. You see how it's nice and feathery? That's how I like it. Oh, these are my pistachios we were talking about. One fairly large clove of garlic. And I like to pre-chop it because here in this little chopper, I might have some chunks of garlic left over, so I give it a bit of a head start this way. Okay, already I'm going to make a suggestion that maybe isn't so popular, but here's the thing. The mortar and the pestle, not this particular one, I don't have a traditional marble one that they would make pesto with, but the mortar and pestle is very challenging because you've got to work it all by hand. You get this beautiful, creamy, most incredible pesto you've ever had in your life. Is it super practical? Probably not. So this is what I do because I make small amounts at a time. I'm going with an immersion blender that has a small little chopper on the side. Yes, it might not be classical, but for me, it kind of brings the both worlds together of the practicality of it, what I'm gaining and what I'm losing. And I really do love making it like this. If you want to use the mortar and pestle though, please try it once because it is a whole different texture that you're going to get. And now to blend it all together. I start with a bit of olive oil. That gives my blades just something to whisk around. And then in goes my pre-chopped garlic with a touch of salt. Handful of these beautiful green pistachios. Look at the star of the show. Look at this. I am so happy with this basil today. Incredible. And then I just lay in my feathery Parmigiano and top with a bit of extra virgin olive oil. The kind of olive oil you use, also very important, delicate, fruity. Pulsing it at the beginning, and then I just want to get a nice creamy blend. Look at that color. Pistachios really help. Why are the simplest things so freaking delicious? This is one of those recipes that has just these 4-5 ingredients, and when they come together, there's magic. I mean, big time magic happens. Basil can be very finicky. The moment you cut it, it starts to wither and wilt right away. And if you chop it, it starts to discolor. So that's why you want to use this pesto soon after you make it. Failing that, what I do is I pour a little layer of olive oil on top, and that allows me to keep it in the fridge so it doesn't discolor. You can serve this pesto with so many things. Of course, pasta, every pasta known to man. You can put it over fish, you can serve it over chicken, you can put it on a piece of bruschetta. The one thing you should never do is heat it. I can smell that pesto from literally 10 feet away. It's so fragrant. Pesto. I'm going to serve this pesto with a little gnocchi that I made that's in the freezer. They'll take 3 to 4 minutes. Put that pesto in and boom, you have an extraordinary recipe. Okay, I need your input on something. If you want next week's video to be this delicious gnocchi made with ricotta, a lot easier, it's got a lot more protein in it, and it is delicious with this pesto. In the comments down below, let me know. Who's up for gnocchi made from ricotta? Next week's recipe. Are you in? Who wants to join me in a little plate of this amazing gnocchi with pesto? Oh, the aromas, insane, insane. Are you ready? Are the angels singing where you are? Because they are here. So amazing. Can something be delicate and rich at the same time, delicate and intense? This is that. Just enough cheese. Really everything's in the balance. The garlic is sort of playing that secondary note in the background, but the basil is the star for sure. That's a thing of beauty, seriously. Thank you so much for joining me on another helping of my favorite foods. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what's happening in your kitchen, and let me know if you want the next video to be this ricotta gnocchi, which is phenomenal. See you next time.